Everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. So, one kind of thing I've had comments about often, frequently, just so frequently, working with people one on one, or those who have even been in the Eating Peace immersion retreat, people part of the Eating Peace process, is this urgency sometimes that happens with the need to change. Okay, I get all this. There's like an underlying belief system, a whole network of stressful thoughts and ideas and beliefs that are going on around maybe even like addictive thinking, put it that way, or stressful thinking that leads to compulsive behavior of any kind, as an avoidance, as a thing to get away from something else, or to soothe oneself, or to find comfort, or to at least have some kind of feeling around powerlessness. Like there's at least something I can do. I can eat, I can drink, I can go do this distracting thing. I can get on the internet, or I can watch Netflix for hours. Something to get away from that mind, that busy, busy mind. Sometimes people feel a real sense of hopelessness and despair or urgency about getting away from that. Like, can't I just change this? I just want an overall deep change, and I want it now. And often this kind of thinking leads to dieting. I'm going to make this huge shift and change. I'm going to diet. And we know that sometimes that first day of a diet feels fantastic, or when you are going on one, you've got everything under control. You're following the plan. And the only thing is the swing off of that is so dreadful. And many of us, when there's a diet plan, diet mentality going on, I need to control this or limit or be in that, the high of not engaging in a compulsive behavior that's difficult. Feels really good, but you're way kind of high on a pedestal, kind of like the wackiness of falling in love. It's a little over the top. It's not grounded and easy and natural and something you actually don't ever even have to think about, So this is why I call Eating Peace the Eating Peace process, the learning that goes on that's deeply involved with understanding a shift from being at war, being in a battle with something, over to being at peace with something, an expansion of your own learning and seeing and being. And there is a place in the middle of that for recognizing what's true. Oh, I'm thinking a stressful thought. Oh, I see that I'm seeing it this particular way that is not really serving me. And that you can, despite a whole field of nervousness or terrified thinking or frustrated or despaired thinking, or like you have no choice, you're powerless in this area over here, some kind of situation or relationship or something about the world and your life, that even though you think those things, you still do not have to eat. You don't have to engage in your compulsive behavior. So how do we get to that? Like, what happens? Process. For me, it certainly was a process. I consulted people that were mentors. I got deeply into understanding my own emotions and my feelings. I looked at what I was thinking. Things got better and better, and the gap closed on compulsive behavior and even compulsive thinking. Everything closed, and then some just dissolved and went away completely. A process. It definitely was a process, and that's how it became a permanent, deep alteration from the previous way that I used to experience my relationship to me and eating and reality and life and bodies, is to just find those that I could speak with and address the deepest issues that were going on that kind of triggered this compulsive behavior in the first place. And there's all different stories and there's different depths that can be gone to, and no one has to do it all at once. So I remembered this amazing poem that somebody handed to me long ago, and I looked it up on the internet recently because every so often I'll think of it. I wanted to share it with you today. It's from the 1980s, which makes sense. I thought I heard this a long, long time ago. It's this beautiful poem by an author called Portia Nelson. And I'm just going to share it with you because it summarizes the depth of knowing oneself and the journey to peace, and that this is a process for everyone. I don't care how long it takes or how short it can be. Maybe it's only a few months to make the shift. Maybe you've been going through things for many years. But here's this process in this beautiful poetry. So here she says, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes me a long time to get out. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it's there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault, and I get out immediately. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. I walk down another street. I love that. You know, this experience with food and eating or whatever it was that you're struggling with that's compulsive. It's like such an insane falling into a deep, dark hole and you can't get out of it. It really is a unique journey for each person. I mean, no one can ever say, oh, I'm going to take that exact amount of time and follow this program and then be at the end of it. And yet there are sort of a scaffolding or structure that every single person can look at and open up to. Identifying the thoughts that you believe that are extremely stressful and the feelings that are produced out of these stressful thoughts. Identify obsessive or compulsive thinking. And maybe you're in a hole. I certainly still have fear or stress or worry or excitement or something that's, comes alive within me about relationships or things that are going on in the world or something that's occurred that I wouldn't necessarily as pure peace 100% of the time. I'm human, and so are you. However, I do notice there was an end, some time. There was a last time that I ever overate about the emotional experience I was having or the thoughts that were going on. There was a time when it was the last time. And enough work had to be done up to that moment to become peaceful and clear enough that I could see the whole and know, even if I had incredible cravings, even if I was thinking, my God, I so want to eat right now. I'm going to, filled with obsessive cravings. I knew I wasn't going to, no matter what. And everybody has that voice within. You do not have to feel comfortable or have every single feeling and emotion, experience, and past life sorted out before you can land on a place that says, no, it's not necessary to grab this comfort with food and eating or to do something that's outside of my peaceful behavior when it comes to food and eating. I'm already uncomfortable. I don't need to add to it with more food or eating. And you can do that. You could just decide. And I hesitate to say this with a really strong way because some people will think, oh, I could have just decided, even though I've had all this incredible emotional uproar in my life, you're saying I could just decide to not overeat or not binge or not drink or not smoke. I can just decide, So it's not meant in that particular way. It's not so simple as that. And yet there is a certain part that can become that simple, that simple. It's just not worth moving out of that kind of peaceful relationship with food or eating or anything in this world to add to a stressful situation that I'm experiencing. It's not worth it, and it's not necessary. It's not required, and it won't actually, overall, in the end, help. I can see the whole, and then actually, in the end, I can walk down a different street. I can see what my compulsive tendencies are. I can see where my mind moves in an effort to solve the problem or get comfortable or have the world work out so that I'm okay, or whatever it is that I'm afraid of as a human. I can see that, and I can just know it's there, and I don't have to hurt myself, even though that's happening. I can actually get all the support I need to decide. So it's a process. It's a process. But there was one day when I knew I'm not binging anymore. I am never going to binge. I actually remember this time physically moving from an apartment to the first home that I ever lived in. That was a whole house that was mine with my partner at the time. And I had done enough work. I had done a lot of work to find and discover peace and access peace and self-love. And I just thought, as I'm moving into the house, even unloading boxes, I am never going to binge eat in this house. But I could say that because I could see the whole very, very well, and I knew to walk around it, And there was still, I wasn't walking down a different street yet. That would require more time and more of the process to unfold. But I knew that I could say that without it being the type of promise that you make to yourself, today's my last day, tomorrow I'm going to quit. Or this is the last one and tomorrow I'm quitting. I'm never going to do this again, or that tight diet mentality, that tight dieting, fierce, willpower controlled experience. This was just like, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. And I really did know. And I think that's possible for anybody. Anyone can know. You could get to that point where you could just deeply know, get yourself all the support you need, have learned enough about loving oneself to then also make a very clear and powerful choice. This is just never going to happen again. It's never going to happen again. And it didn't. I was done. And it didn't mean I went through some bumpy cravings and difficult times and holding on to the edge of my seat like I'm on a roller coaster ride that's even flipping around like this sometimes. There's some of that, but it wasn't too much to be able to hold my no and use those experiences as something to learn and something to be with without terror and without needing to move out of that and overeat. So just an interesting paradox. You can find that poem that I read on the web. But I love that I just had it in my mind for all these years and thought of it today and wanted to share it with you. So no is possible. No to all the things that are self-destructive. No is possible any moment in this process. And this is it's not all up to you. It's between you and the way you're learning with reality, your relationship with all of the world, all your life, your mind, your feelings. But it's possible for this to end, the damage, destruction, the battling, and to just begin to ride into peaceful zone and then go down another street. Take care, everybody.